the question, I will say the answer is wars are not won with paper resolutions. They are won with iron resolution, and that is clearly lacking in our strategy right now against the Islamic State. General Austin, Ms. Wormuth, thank you for coming. General Austin in particular, for all the thousands of troopers you represent, for your service and their service. I want to speak briefly about the reports that there may have been some efforts to cook the books about our performance in the campaign against the Islamic State. I know in your opening statement you acknowledged this, acknowledged the problem. There is ongoing investigations to include with the IG, but you have an ongoing challenge in your intelligence reporting and the way that affects your operations as well as the command climate. So putting aside the IG investigation, could you just tell us what steps you're taking to confront those challenges that you face on a daily basis?
I have recently and continue to emphasize, Senator, to all of my subordinates that my expectation is that I get candid and accurate intelligence assessments, from my staff. I've also emphasized to my entire command, as I have in every command that I've had, that the welfare of my people is extremely important to me. And so, I care about my people. My expectation is that they have a climate that's conducive to providing for a good, healthy, sound work environment for them.
Thank you. I mean, I would have to say, too, as someone who regularly consumes intelligence community products on the Islamic State and our campaign against them as a member of this committee and a member of the Intelligence Committee, I was very surprised to hear allegations that books are being cooked, because those products are not painting a very pretty picture of how this campaign is going. General Austin, I want to move now to events in Syria, and in particular, Russia's military buildup. Published reports have said in the last couple of weeks, to include admissions of senior Russian officials, that Russia is sending aircraft there, air defense systems, armored personnel carriers, main battle tanks now, in addition to life support systems like modular housing that are clearly designed for a large and continued presence. How many airstrikes is the coalition conducting on a daily basis right now in Syria?
We're conducting overall about 24 or so airstrikes in Iraq and Syria, and about a third of those are in Syria. So.
What efforts, if any, do we have underway to deconflict this battle space now that we have hundreds, perhaps thousands of Russians running around with air defense systems and battle tanks and personnel carriers?
Well, we continue to, from a military perspective, we continue to look at what the possibilities for encounters are, Senator, and we make sure that we have measures in place to ensure that we don't have an inadvertent encounter with either a Russian aircraft or a Syrian aircraft.
Do our pilots have to have 100% positive identification that there is no Russian on a target before they can strike that target?
Well, the Russians, to my knowledge, have not started operations as of this point, so we've not had to encounter that yet. But clearly these are things that, from a tactical perspective, that we will continue to work and think through. So.
Assad's other main supporter inside of Syria is Iran, and specifically the Revolutionary Guard Corps and the Quds Force, which has been present in Syria for years. Do our pilots have to have 100% positive identification that there is no Iranian forces on a target before they strike that target?
Our pilots have to have 100%, well, they have to have certainty, Senator, that there are ISIL targets there that will be engaged. And since, as you know, we can see what we're shooting at or what we're engaging, this is not an issue. So.
Mr. Wormuth, there's a report recently in the media that Russia offered in 2012 to help the West remove Assad from power, and that the United States declined that offer because we believed that Assad would fall of his own accord. Is that an accurate report?
I don't believe that's an accurate report, but that's obviously from several years ago, and I wasn't in this position at that time, so I don't believe it's accurate, but I don't believe it's accurate.
Do you believe that Iran and their proxies can be a partner in the fight against the Islamic State in any way in Iraq or Syria?
No, not really. I mean, we're not cooperating with Iran right now in Iraq, for example. We're deconflicting. As you know well, they certainly have a role with some of the Shia militia on the ground, some of the popular mobilization forces. But we are not cooperating, and I don't see Iran as having a productive role in either Iraq or Syria.
Thank you. I would agree, given the fact that their militias in Iraq had to rely on U.S. Air power, and now they appear to be relying on Russian forces in Iran to back up their hapless efforts, that they aren't going to be a partner, and trying to rely on Iran to defeat the Islamic State is like trying to rely on gasoline to put out a fire.
Thank you, Senator.